It is widely regarded within academic circles that students in traditional lectures have a relatively short attention span of around 10 to 15 minutes. The US National Library of Medicine suggests that the average attention span in 2013 is as low as 8 seconds. This is not a new concept, and it is advised that shifting the focus of learning experience by changing tasks or providing group discussion instead of a traditional didactic approach, or even worse, the dreaded death by PowerPoint, can be beneficial in regaining focus and retention of information. Academics must also be mindful that the 21st century classroom is occupied by students, many of whom are digital natives, to which rapid access of information has become the norm. An increasingly problematic distraction within the classroom is the presence of mobile devices, with many academics citing them as the root cause of reduced attention spans. Studies have identified that up to 64% of students have actually used their mobile devices for non-academic purposes during lectures. The explosion of social media over the past decade may have attributed to this problem, with reports that the average Facebook user checks their account 14 times a day. It is evident, therefore, that the modern-day academic faces a barrage of potential problems with engaging students and retaining attention spans from untoward distractions. This project will look at how the use of mobile devices can be used to break down the walls of the confines of the traditional classroom and allow students to engage with the wider digital community when discussing a given topic. Social media, or more specifically Twitter, will be used as not a distraction but as a tool to aid learning and encourage engagement. It is a common misconception that only the few students who ask questions in the class are the ones who engage. But what about the silent students who don't speak up? Are they disinterested, or are they engaged students who merely are afraid to speak amongst their peers? The student will be encouraged to create a professional Twitter account which can be anonymous if the student wishes. The lecturer will encourage students to ask questions during lectures, both in the traditional verbal format, but also posing the questions on Twitter anonymously if they wish. Dedicated hashtags will be used to collate the information, and questions will be reviewed and discussed at set points with the teaching session. Prepared slides will also pose questions to both students and experts via Twitter, with the hope of gaining international contribution to discussion from an established network of followers and peers across the world. The project hopes to engage students within the topic being taught whilst also using mobile devices proactively rather than a distraction. It is hoped that the meaningful and valuable contribution is made via an established peer network to the students' learning in a context which would not be possible without using social media. The project will also hopefully promote the professional use of social media by healthcare students and encourage good practice and transferable communication skills. The ability to pose anonymous questions will also hopefully encourage wider participation from the students. These areas will be analysed and evaluated in more detail once the project has been implemented.